Don't go too fast either, mate. You remember we're not all bloody world-class athletes, you know?
Kurt Fearnley has been climbing mountains all his life.
This is a monster of a hill.
Today, it's the Blue Mountains in New South Wales. But this is just a training session for his next challenge here on the Kokoda Track.
Yeah, we're not kidding ourselves here. It's extremely difficult for an able-bodied person, but for Kurt to attempt to crawl across it is just absolutely incredible.
I see myself as more or less able-bodied.
If Kurt Fearnley can make the 96-kilometre trek, he'll become the first wheelchair-bound person to ever crawl the Kokoda Track.
You know, if I can go downstairs without having to use the ramp, I'll do it. If I can go over gravel instead of taking the long way around, I'd do it.
So you've got the physical challenge, it's mentally tough. You're in a primal jungle. There's no roads. The only way out is to walk out.
Squeeze it tight and put it in. Good boy.
Kurt was born with spina bifida. Although he has feeling, he can't use his small legs and feet.
After Kurt was born, the hospital offered to keep him in long-term care, but you guys said no. Why?
Because we love him.
He was our baby and we were taking him home to the other children and the family, and that was it.
If I was going to live a week or I was going to live 50 years, I was going to live that time as their kid. So they took me back home, and that's exactly how they raised me.
And raised here in the little postcard town of Carcoar on the western slopes of New South Wales.
I don't see no disability. He's just a son, the same as what the rest of the kids are.
Can we just see how you get up the hill with your brothers?
Jason. So the good thing is I'm going to make him look really little when I jump on his back.
Yeah, well, he used to just sort of put his arms straight out and I'd hold him like that.
And then up you'd go?
Yeah.
God, you must have been fit, you blokes, too.
Oh, it wasn't that.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
hard
a lot
work.
smaller too.
You feel completely able-bodied 99% of the time until some rule or some regulation will spell it out to you that you're not. So that's about the only time that I've ever felt, crippled.
Do you like saying that word?
Oh, not particularly.
It hurts.
Absolutely. It's the only time you do feel like a cripple.
I can do most of the stuff that they do, and if I can't, they just change the rules.
At primary school, he was a standout sportsman. But when he reached high school, life changed.
It took me a few years to find out that, the world doesn't revolve around me.
You didn't think that you were much different until you got here, did you?
Thought I was a little shorter. That was about it.
He suddenly had to realise he was different and there were things he couldn't do. And just at this crucial stage, along came Maureen Dixon, the teacher who would change his life.
Kurt credits you with introducing him to wheelchair sports.
I could just see that he had so much energy and he wanted so much to be involved in something, and I thought I've got to find some outlet for him.
Mrs. Dixon made a phone call where just through one call opened up an incredible world that I would, to this day be still enjoying. And I think that's one of the reasons why I became a teacher, was not to just teach kids, but to be that person that makes that extra phone call and introduces the next kid to a world they wouldn't have known even, existed.
Kurt has won the 2009 London Marathon, Paris Marathon, the Seoul Marathon. He wants to have the perfect year, looking at Sydney, Chicago, New York to his victories. Mate, he is an absolute sensational athlete.
Hands down, Kurt Fearnley is Australia's toughest athlete. 5 world championships, double Olympic gold. And while leading the New York Marathon 3 years ago, Kurt's never say die spirit was so obvious.
I hit some potholes, threw me over sideways and slid along the concrete. I was skidding along the ground. I threw my chair back up and I was a scared rabbit. I think I was just, gritting the teeth and going.
Just 3 weeks ago, he won the New York Marathon for the 4th time in a row, cementing his place as one of the greatest wheelchair athletes in history. If you believe his girlfriend Sheridan, also one of the most stubborn.
Just how headstrong is he?
Incredibly headstrong. If he doesn't want to do something, he's not going to do it. No one can tell him to do anything because that just pisses him off.
Unless I want to do it.
Yeah, and then if you can do it. And he sees through me trying to trick him to do something. He's like, I know what you're doing.
Mate, Einstein had to be stubborn.
Are you saying that you're Einstein?
I've got the crazy beard.
Here's the family. Here's the family.
In this home, family is everything.
Thank you very much.
Success, Kurt.
The Kokoda Challenge is to raise money for Beyond Blue, which fights depression. And it was the loss of a loved family member, a close cousin, that inspired Kurt to tackle the trek.
My brother Peter, who suffered with depression, he passed a couple of years ago, and it was really tough. It was something that we couldn't really get our heads around. I guess a lot of men, it's not something they'd like to own up to, but if they know they've got that support network, like with Kurt, he knows he's got us around him to do this trip, and together we'll help each other and we'll get through.
How you doing? 10 metres down. 95.9 to go.
I will crawl. I'm sure at some points I'll be thrown and dragged.
Illness and disease worries you a little bit,
does.
doesn't it?
I'm going to be crawling through mud, and sometimes the littlest cut can mean the biggest issue.
It's so beautiful along here. You almost have to force yourself to look up every now and then and enjoy what you're actually battling through. It's a dead set paradise, mate. Unbelievable.
Well done, guys. Woo! Day 2 done and dusted. Woo! How'd you go?
Good, mate.
Can you do it?
Hey?
You gonna make it?
Don't know. It's 50-50.
50-50? Really? Remember Koshi.
Yeah, Koshi. I'm not saying I'm going to be able to make it through this, but I'm just going to keep trying, and that's all we've got to do. That's all that everyone does.
But Kurt is not up here alone. His brothers, cousins, and friends are all here to lend a hand.
When I was struggling yesterday, even just telling my brothers that I was really struggling, it felt like there was a load lifted off my shoulders. Blokes need to be able to ask for a hand from other blokes, and if they're struggling, they need to be able to talk about it. And specifically with depression, it's like cancer. You don't treat this by yourself. You don't hide it. You ask for it. You go to your doctor. You talk to him about it. Yeah, you tell your family that you're struggling, and you get that support that's needed. I've got a few porters with me as well, and these boys, they're carrying 25 kilos on their back. And then when I was trying to rest, I'd jump on a stretcher and they'd be grabbing hold of that and running, And it was just amazing. It was something that I'd never seen before, and it just, they don't make them tough like that anymore. They're just amazing people. One of the things I think I'm going to keep telling myself is when we're crawling, no matter what happens, there's been worse things that people have had to go through along this track that we've just got to keep going forward.
Even on the hard days, it's the welcome of the local children that lifts Kurt and his mates.
The local kid in the first village we went to, looked like he might have had some sort of cerebral palsy, but was scooting around on his bum. And, when I got to kind of give him a bit of a hug and throw a kangaroo shirt on him, they teared up as well. I think I almost teared up. and then we kept going. So, you know, the relationships there, that's one thing that I didn't see coming. That's such an important part of my trip now, is just, you know, that relationships with your boys.
Oh, I think I've bottomed out a little bit, boys. This is hard.
5 minutes top, mate.
5 more minutes.
Every day I was exhausted. Every day I pushed myself until I couldn't go any further, and then the boys would help out, and then I'd go further, and we would make it into camp every night. Then the emotions would kick in, and then it would be, oh, I'm so tired, how am I going to do this in the morning?
Well done, champion.
It's day 10 and yet another river to cross.
This is the hardest thing I've ever done. Everything is so sore. I just want to get off the ground for the last time.
There it is, boys! Woo!
One last hill to climb.
Hello, mate.
And that's it. Kurt Fearnley has made it.
Congratulations, fantastic.
The first athlete to crawl the Kokoda Trail.
Well done, champion.
Look at those gloves. How many of those did you wear out?
This is number
Rosie?
4 or 5.
Is that right? 4 or 5 sets of gloves?
Yeah.
And Kurt is the first to admit he could never have done this without his family and friends.
The last 12 days have been amazing, especially, you know, with...
Can I ask you, how much do you think your mum and dad have attributed today?
Oh, Jacqueline. What are you doing? Did you see it?
Just a second.
Oh. How's that?
I'm the proudest man on this earth at the moment.
What are you doing here?
Come to find you.
It's a beautiful day. Beautiful.
This is one of our best days. Well done, mate.
Thanks, Dad.
I just hope people with disability look at Kurt and say we can do anything we want and just go ahead and do it.